We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and if it's the third Tuesday of the month, then that must mean it's Gerald Celente. Hello, Mr. Celente, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Fair to middling, mostly good under clear skies here in Texas, but brother, it's cold out there.
Well, you guys don't know what cold is. We got cold up here.
I used to live up in Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania.
So you know what cold is.
Oh, brother, yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Hey, a lot of interesting things going on. I don't know if you caught this, Gerald, about a week ago, and it was released through RT. And Obama and our Congress have been beaten up pretty heavy on Vladimir Putin. We have a country over there that's in question as to how the new leadership came about. Well, not to us. We know how the government was flipped in Kiev. And Mr. Putin didn't want another NATO country sitting right on his doorstep. So we sanctioned and we demonized. But something very interesting happened. About a week ago, he did a little interview with RT and basically said that, look, we've got the satellite pictures of 9/11. Keep screwing with me, I'm going to release them. It will destroy your country. And all of a sudden, the war drums surrounding Mr. Putin kind of lessened a little bit.
Yeah, you make a point there. I remember that. And it came in the news and out of the news.
Uh-huh.
And of course, now the news as we speak, the United Nations Security Council adopted a Russia-initiated resolution in support of the Minsk agreements. And so, yeah, who knows? And of course, there are a lot of people that don't believe the official 9/11 story, and for good reason, since they won't give us much information on it, and holding back a lot of the information from the Commission. And the people that headed the Commission doubt the information. So why should we believe anything that Washington says?
Well, I mean,
I don't mean Washington as in George. I mean in how it's degenerated to Vietnam. With the Gulf of Tonkin incident that never happened, that cost 58,000 lives of our soldiers and over 3 million lives of Vietnamese, based on lies.
The youngest.
The Iraq War, based on, let's call it, false information. And now the big news, by the way, is what's going on in Libya. And we do Trends in the News each night as part of the subscription to the TrendsJournal, and I just did the one on, now Egypt is bombing Libya to get ISIS. The Italians are talking about invading Libya because it's becoming a threat to destabilization.
To whom? I thought Italy was up to their eyeballs, along with Spain, Portugal, and everybody else, with monetary problems, and everybody wants to beat a war drum.
Well, what's happening in Italy is they're flooding in at 3,000 this week. They have an immigration problem that they can't cope with. They're flooding out of Libya, out of Tunisia, out of Egypt, out of the Middle East into Italy, and they can't deal with them. And now with Italy, they have their big ENI oil depot over there. It was a big deal that was put together with Berlusconi and Gaddafi, and now they're bringing all the people out of Libya. So what I'm saying is, all of this destabilization in Libya, no one is going back to the people that started this and overthrew a country that had no business of ours what it was doing. Gaddafi wasn't bothering us, but they killed the guy, killed 30,000 people, carpet bombed areas, and now the whole place is up for grabs, and it's destabilizing Europe as well. And so what is the rationale? I got it. More war. How about that?
You take them. You create. It's the old Hegelian dialectic, Gerald. It's thesis, antithesis, synthesis. They create the problem. They'll show you from 75 different angles how bad the problem is, and then they'll come up with a solution to remedy the problem that they started in the first place. And I'm in total agreement with you here. Iraq didn't have weapons of mass destruction, okay? Gaddafi was not giving Viagra to his troops to assist in the rape of Libyan women. Assad was not over there using chemical weapons on his own people. But every damn time that we have gotten involved with either Iraq or Syria or Libya, it doesn't matter. Look at the carnage that's been left behind and look at the political vacuum that's created. And then we complain because other people move in with a hardline edge and a real steely eyeball toward America, and they're wondering why they're acting like this.
I know. You know, prior to the overthrow of Gaddafi, you know, there was no militant Islamists that were threatening the region. You know, prior to him, they weren't killing Christians in Libya. And then you'll never forget that if you want to see how sick it is and the sick people in charge, anybody, all they have to do is go to YouTube and get that clip of Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State being interviewed on CBS. And they asked her about Gaddafi's death, and she goes, "We came, we saw, he died."
Yeah.
I mean, this is how sick they are. If you or I were to do that, you know, we would be, oh my God, they'd come after us.
Well, and Gerald, don't worry, because Hillary is going to run for president in 2016. I've already seen the political organizations and the mechanization behind her. They all know she's going to run. She won't get the presidency, but the RNC is going to put up Jeb Bush. Now, we get the lesser of the two evils. We're going to have another Bush in the White House. But, you know, I mean, Clinton is carrying too much baggage, for God's sakes. I don't think she could. She's too old. She can't lug all that into the Oval Office. So they're going to set it up. Well, they'll run her. She'll make money. Hey, she'll go into retirement. She'll be done with politics. We'll have a Jeb Bush in office to continue. It doesn't matter if it's the Gambinos or the Genoveses. You're going to have a crime syndicate running this country, whether it's a Clinton or a Bush. It doesn't matter.
Well, I prefer to call them the Bloods of the Crips.
Yeah.
Because they're murderers and thieves. They murder people in the name of bringing freedom and democracy and steal our money in the name of too big to fail and doing tax breaks, loan guarantees, and other dirty deals for their friends. I want to read you something. This is Obama before he boards the jet to go, Air Force One, to go to Brazil with his wife, his mother-in-law, and his kids. This is on in March of 2011. He goes on to say, innocent people were targeted for killing. He's talking about Libya. Hospitals and ambulances were attacked. Journalists were arrested and killed. Supplies of food and fuel were choked off. Water for hundreds of thousands of people was shut off. Cities and towns were shelled, mosques were destroyed, and apartment buildings reduced to rubble. Military jets and helicopter gunships were unleashed upon people who had no means to defend themselves against assaults from the air. And I read this tonight, and I said, hey, he must have been talking about Gaza. Same thing.
Same.
Oh, they only killed 2,100. Gaddafi, I was showing the numbers. There was no slaughters going on. This stuff was made up. They were killing more people, I was writing about it, a day in Yemen than they were claiming that Gaddafi was killing. What Obama just said, hospitals and ambulances were attacked? Well, you saw those photos. UN hospitals were bombed by Netanyahu. No, they were hiding weapons in there.
Yeah.
90,000 homes destroyed. 1.2 million people in an area 7 miles wide by 25 miles long. Destroyed with 500-pound bombs. Oh, they were shooting rockets at us. Oh, they're not supposed to fight back? Oh, and by the way, how many rockets did they kill, Israelis did they kill with those rockets?
Yeah.
Try none.
Yeah.
And try the average weight of them being between 5 to 15 pounds.
It used to be what a firecracker we would explode on 4th of July.
You got it.
Yeah.
So
that
cities and towns were destroyed, yep. Mosques were destroyed. Oh, yeah, but that's all right when the Israelis knock them out.
You know, Gerald, that is, and people are not looking at the Gaza Strip, which was pretty much what's left of Palestine. That is the world's largest open-air prison camp on the planet.
And do you know the reasons why they gave for attacking it?
Oh, yeah.
3 Israeli teenagers were killed in the West Bank, in occupied territory. So that's a reason to go destroy Gaza? Oh, they're going to build terror tunnels. No, they should stay where they are. They should not fight back, and they should keep giving up their land. And I'm tired of hearing this word settlers. You know, it's like happy trails to you. You know, they're going across the open desert wagon trails, wagon trains.
Yeah.
These are settlers. It's a real estate grab.
That's all that it is.
But they're using the manipulation and the lies. So anyway, going back to Libya, tracking trends is an understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. No one is talking about how we got here in the major media. No one is talking about who supported these ISIS. Who were the militants that the United States and its allies supported to overthrow these governments of Iraq, to overthrow the governments of Syria, to overthrow the governments of Libya, to overthrow the governments of Somalia and others?
And you would think, Gerald, we did a little exercise back in 1953, Mossadegh. We got rid of him. People in Iran liked him. We brought in the Shah of Iran. And then look what happened after the people got wise to this government, U.S. government-supported puppet over there in Iran. What did we get? We got the Ayatollah Khomeini. We got a hardliner in there.
Exactly, because they create conditions to bring in a radical. And people, why did they overthrow Mossadegh? Well, the MI6 and the CIA overthrew him because he had the nerve. The Iranian president had the nerve to want to nationalize their oil. Can you imagine when BP, in those days, Anglo-Iranian, and Standard Oil owned it, and this guy actually had the nerve to say that the oil belonged to the Iranian people since the oil was in Iran? I mean, he does deserve to get overthrown and to put in a puppet like the Shah, who's this brutal dictator. And people don't know, you know, the Savak, the secret police, you know, they were a clone from the SS.
It is totally amazing, and the Brits have been in there screwing things up. Then the American empire rolls in, and we do it bigger, badder, and better. We can blow more people up. And this whole thing about ISIS, well, the radicals are joining forces, and yeah, as you said, Gerald, who's been supplying them with arms? Who's been supplying them with money? Who's been supplying them with the intelligence? The Mossad, MI6, the CIA. We have been popping and flipping country after country after country in the Middle East, and then we're over here saying that, well, we might be under threat. Well, geez, oh, Pete's. Let me rub raw meat on you, throw you in a lion's cage, and see if he'll ignore you.
Yep. The United States has killed over 1 million people in Iraq. We would be and then the guys that there's the ISIS. These are the guys that were thrown in jail because they were Sunnis when the Shia took over. And remember that Iraq was being controlled by the Sunnis under Hussein. These are the guys that have been tortured. These are the guys whose lives have been destroyed, families killed, and country ruined. You think they're out of their minds and they want to get revenge? Could anybody understand that?
Gerald, I have seen a lot of things in my life, and one of the things that I think people, they don't give enough credence to or enough thought. This is how good the manipulations are. We killed a man that was already dead. Osama bin Laden. This guy died in what? At the tail end of 2011. October, November of 2011. It was in newspapers in various parts of the globe. Everybody knew that Osama bin Laden was dead. We needed a boogeyman, so we kept him alive. We kept him alive, and then we were on the hunt for Osama bin Laden, and then we finally killed him, and then we threw his body overboard at sea on a ship. And this is nothing but concocted CIA, Pentagon crap that's being leveled at the people. And they're going, well, I feel pretty insecure over here in America. The terrorists are going to get us. Gerald, by every measurable standard, who the hell are the terrorists here?
And again, so let's suppose the numbers are real, and they're saying that there are between 10 to 17,000 ISIS. What do we have now? We have a military about 1.3 million. Yeah, I mean, if they're going, could they do some damage? Yeah. Look what happened just in Denmark. They blamed it on a crazy Islamic radical, and finds out the guy was just crazy. He was a gang member. Yeah. He was out of his mind, an angry guy. Same thing happened up in Canada. Same thing in Australia. One or two guys go nuts. That's a reason to rape everybody of their rights.
Yeah.
Just like they did up in Boston with the Boston Marathon. They shut down the city. They made people stay in their homes to go looking for a 19-year-old kid.
It is fascinating to me that the propaganda and the false flags that are out there, and they, to the discerning individual, for the person that's not whipsawed by the master manipulators through the media, I think you call them the prostitutes.
That's right.
I'm watching news of late, and if there is nothing that they want to propagandize with you with, they are sitting there. The news programs have turned into a damn joke.
It is a joke. Look at the people on it.
Ah.
It is a joke. And, I was on every show. I've been on with O'Reilly. I've been on with Brian Williams.
Oh, yes.
He's been on Oprah. I've been on every show. He's been on with Joan London. You name them. Katie Couric, Matt Lauer. I've been on every show virtually. And it's the parade of lightweights. The only person that I really... There's a couple I respected. Tom Sullivan's a good guy with Fox, and Andrew Napolitano, there's not enough good things I could say about him, Judge Napolitano. And you can see the price he paid for he took his show off.
Well, look at Sullivan's no longer seen or heard.
Yep.
It's the ones that are just pressing.
Yeah, the good guys. Yep.
Yeah, the ones that are just pressing that edge, or they're close to the third rail, but they never touch it. But it's palpable. You can feel it. You can sense it.
Yeah. Here's another quote from Obama's speech in 2011. I made it clear that Gaddafi had lost the confidence of his people and the legitimacy to lead, and I said that he needed to step down from power.
Is he?
You said?
Is he talking about himself?
What are you talking about? I said? Isn't this America? Where are all of the people out there? Doesn't this nation have any people of courage that would stand up and say, who are you to say this? Who anointed you to tell who should stay into power in another country when they don't have anything to do with us? It's a humanitarian mission. Save it, Jack. If their major export was broccoli and not sweet crude oil, you think we'd be there?
George didn't like broccoli, and he said so.
That's right.
But George...
And look what they did with this king, the new king of Saudi Arabia. They're talking about all the ISIS beheadings. This cat's already beheaded 6 in Saudi Arabia since he's come in. Just a couple of weeks. And, again, all of those women, these women libbers that I keep hearing about why they need women's freedoms in Afghanistan and we should be there, how come you're not speaking out? You can't even drive a car in Saudi Arabia. You want to talk about no women's rights, but they're all quiet on it. The hypocrisy from the liberal left is disgusting. And do you think people would go over there to bow down to the king if his major export was broccoli and not oil? How disgusting it is to pay homage to someone because of the product that they sell.
I don't think there's any countries left to destabilize and topple over there. Yeah, there's one left, Iran. You know, this is the country.
And it's not going to happen.
Yeah, well,
anybody thinks it's the same thing as Russia. I mean, who in their right? You have to really be the dumbest of the neocons to think you're going to take out Russia. I mean, you know, Hitler couldn't do it with the biggest military offensive in world history. You see that graph of Napoleon leaving Poland with 422,000 men, reaching Moscow and coming back, and he has 10,000 men left.
Gerald, Pootie Poo, as I lovingly refer to him as, a couple of weeks ago basically said, you keep screwing with Russia, you will have war in Europe. And, you know, when a Russian says something like that, I pay attention.
You don't mess with the Russians. They're a different breed of cat, man. They lost 20 million people fighting in World War II. They lived on sunflower seeds.
Yeah, you don't
leave them alone. Did Russia invade Iraq? Did Russia invade Libya? Did Russia invade Nicaragua? I think their last invasion was Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And that is a neighboring country of sorts. And they were asked to come in there, and I don't know the full story. I'm not defending them. But look, how many air bases does Russia have, and how many military bases does the United States have around the world?
Right now, we're running operations in 133 different countries, Gerald. Manipulating, tearing down, ripping apart, causing divisions, causing strife. I hate to say this as being an American, but I'll tell you what, if somebody developed a super bomb and wiped this country off the face of the planet, you could hardly blame them.
You know, we're launching Occupy Peace on May 2nd, and the website's occupypeace.us, based on the Founding Fathers' belief of no foreign entanglements. And the wars were going on back then, too, so I don't want to hear it's a different world now for people that say it's different.
It's not.
They were wise enough not to use our resources to build a nation. So we began the conversation. You told me how cold it was in Austin. Look what's going up in Boston. You know, our TrendsJournal was late coming out. We get it printed up in the Boston, Providence area, Providence, Rhode Island. And they got 7 feet of snow.
Yeah.
They had to shut down the rails, the antiquated rails. They said if this was 10 years ago, we could have run the trains, but they need $6 billion to fix the rail system. But we could give. Hey, we heard Victoria Nuland say that they gave Ukraine $5 billion of our bucks. They could have had a nice rail system up there in Boston.
And
they don't have enough. They don't have enough equipment to clean the place.
And
no, we need our equipment to go overseas to fight wars. We don't have anything for the home front.
Gerald, we could have repaired the entire country's infrastructure, roads, bridges, everything. With all the money we've spent in the last 13 years in the Middle East, we could have fixed everything. That required material and labor that would have put people to work.
Yeah, even half of that. In other words, we would have had another $3 trillion left over.
Yeah.
And again, I make this clear. I don't support the troops. I do not support the troops fighting in foreign nations.
I don't either.
When our security is not at stake. I don't support the troops in Afghanistan. I don't support them in Iraq. I don't support them in Somalia. I don't support them in Sudan. I don't support them anywhere other than in the United States. And number two, that's the job that they wanted to take. They volunteered for this. That's their trip. It's not mine. So don't ask me to go on your trip. I won't ask you to go on mine. And you are not making me safer. You are destabilizing the nation by going and killing other people. And I know you're just following orders. But I'm tired of hearing it from the politicians that say we have to support the troops. No, I don't. I support them to protect America. I support them to defend the home front. I do not support them in foreign entanglements.
Hey,
Sorry.
we are out of time. That website, May 2nd,
OccupyPeace.us.
OccupyPeace.us. Gerald, as always, it's a pleasure, sir.
And also being on with you, and thank you for all that you do.
I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
We must take America back. We must take America back. With finance. With finance. With finance. With finance. With finance. With finance.